Sometimes it just feels like the struggle never ends. It seems like we only overcome one struggle just to face another and another. And I know I'm not alone in this feeling because I've had multiple people tell me the same thing, but it doesn't change how it feels. Feeling absolutely defeated after facing trial after trial. I asked God, why do I feel this way? How I felt like I was at my wit's end and couldn't handle that weight. But to be completely honest, I just felt distant with God, almost as if He didn't see me. My faith told me to continue pushing and to try harder, to do better. I had faith that God was with me, so I wondered, why did I feel that way? It must be a problem with what I'm doing, right? But the more I pushed, the harder I pushed, the more exhausted and defeated I felt when I was no closer to God. Until one day I went to pray and I got the word hope. God showed me that I had faith, but I had no hope. I was pushing and pushing, but with no joy, with no anticipation of the fruits of my labor. I continued to labor and struggle, and it was purely in vain. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Your faith is how much you trust God based on what He has said, based on the promises He's made. And hope is the mentality behind your faith. It's the anticipation and the joy in the waiting. Let me give you an illustration. Imagine you plant a seed and watch it grow. You know it's getting the right amount of sunlight and you're watering it just perfectly. You have faith it'll grow, but without hope, day after day you see nothing sprout from the ground, and eventually you get discouraged wondering if maybe you're doing something wrong, and eventually you give up. Your faith runs out. Now with hope, you anticipate the growth and the fruit that are to come. Day after day, nothing has sprouted from the ground, but you have hope that that day is coming. You have hope that the day where you see that little seedling just sprouts from the ground. That hope is keeping you from becoming discouraged. You continue even when it seems like there's nothing, even when there really is nothing coming out of the ground. You have that hope, and you continue joyfully. We are told to go through life just like that, with hope. In Romans 12:12, it talks about the marks of a Christian, and it states, "Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer." Hope is so deeply intertwined with the process of life. Jesus Himself tells us that we're gonna have trials, but He should be our hope. He should be the reason for our joyful anticipation. Romans 5:3-4 is the verse that really hit me. It stuck out, and it says, "Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope." Isn't it funny how suffering, the very thing, the very reason why many lose hope, is ultimately what produces it? I had no hope, and I felt my faith was becoming lackluster and stagnant. And I had to re-examine my faith and really remember who God is. That He is El Roi, the God who sees me, the God that has plans for me, the God of the universe, and how that He wants a relationship with me. A literal piece of dust in all of creation, and He wants a relationship with me. And so much so that He's willing to endure an excruciating death. I really had to realign myself with God, and doing so brought hope. My faith had something to cling on to instead of just mindlessly pushing me. In this, I realized that I wasn't seeking God wholeheartedly. God was just getting the leftovers of my time and being put on the back burner. Realigning with God meant making Him the very center of my life, not just a part of who I am, but the reason I am who I am. Now I invite you, during this next year, make it a goal to have hope. Don't focus on the bad parts. Focus on who God is and have hope in His character. Let's leave pessimism in 2025 and go into the new year full of hope in what God can do. Now, I pray this video was helpful to you, and I hope to see you soon.